welcome back to The Look. It is Faith Ferris, one of your hosts. Alongside me is Dr. Andrew Bernstein, aka Dr. Fashion, who will be with us in just a little bit. But before we go to his amazing interview, I wanted to say Happy New Year and thank you so much for watching The Look with us here on DBTV. Now, with the new year, we have new exciting guests. Go follow our social media channels so you can stay up to date on all the latest things happening with The Look. Stay up to date on the latest fashion trends, what's happening in beauty and in retail. Also, with today's guest, Dr. Fashion is going to be speaking with somebody who is in the cacti industry. The guy who is leading the way in making cacti fabrics. You heard that right. They are taking cacti and putting it into fabric. So I could be wearing a sweatshirt made of cacti right now and you wouldn't even know. So it's all about sustainability, fashion, what they're doing in the industry to try to take sustainability to the next level. So Dr. Fashion, take it away.
And welcome back to The Look TV. Today we're honored to have Marte Cazarez, the co-founder of Desserto in Mexico. Desserto is one of the leading companies dealing with sustainability in fashion and textiles. Just think, working with cactus, something we think of those prickly pears and prickly cactus in the desert in South America, in Mexico, Arizona, California. We stay away from them. But Desserto is going to them because the cactus is bringing us sustainability and they are bringing us vegan imitation leather that is used in so many products today, so many names like Hublot, Mercedes Benz, Boatman Shoes, and so many others. So Marte, we want to welcome you to The Look today. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm more happy to talk about all the story and our materials.
So getting into the deep dive on Desserto, could you tell us a little bit about, I know this is a family business, you are the co-founder. Could you tell us how Desserto started? What was the inspiration? A little bit about that. And what makes Desserto such a leading source for sustainability, not only in cactus, but really with what you are doing throughout Mexico, South America, and the world, how you're changing sustainability for textiles and fashion and accessories throughout the world.
Okay, it's a very long story, but I will try to make it a little bit
We'll
short.
get the limited edition here on The Look.
Well, I'll start in 2019 when I met my business partner, Adrian Lopez. We were in Taiwan for different purposes. I was studying Chinese and my partner, he was doing his degree in economics, and we met in a bar in Taiwan. And a friend in common introduced each other's, and then we figured out that we were born in the same day, same month, and same year. Just 1 hour difference. And just because of that, we became very, very good friends in Taiwan. After 2 years there, I came back to Mexico, and Adriana spent more than 6 years in Taiwan. Then when I came back to Mexico, I started working in fashion industry in one of the biggest fast fashion brands in Mexico, in bags, accessories, and watch straps. And all the production was based in China, Asia. So I was in charge of all the communication of the collections between Asia and Mexico for the importation and distribution in Mexico. And then I was working also in the aloe vera industry. I was working with plants in using these fibers from the aloe vera to transform them into byproducts such as creams and the cosmetics, perfumes, etc. And in the other part of the world, Adrian, my business partner, he was working in the development of new materials of synthetics, and he was also working in automotive, also with synthetics and leather. So we were both working in different countries and different areas and industries, but we were both using leather and synthetics. So once we met again in Mexico in 2015, something like that, 2016, we start talking and talking about our interested about what we were doing, and I was working that I love the fashion industry, and he told me that he loves the automotive industry, but there was one thing in common, that we were not happy with all the contamination that was involved in this industry, all the waste accumulation, all the water use, all the land use change, all the chemicals used in the processes. So there were many things that we were not happy with the materials. So we start thinking and say, hey, so if we like this industry that much, why don't we do something for it? So that's why we start to think, how can we help this industry to keep growing, I mean, high as it is, but in a greener way. So we started research and development. We took 3 years until we achieved, I mean, like the final formulation. But first we start with aloe vera, then we start with savila, then with cactus, and we ate with the family of cactus, which is the nopal. And the nopal is the symbol of the Mexican flag, is present in each state of Mexico, in all cities, everywhere. So we say, if we use this plant for and transform it into a material, this is going to be the real solution. Why? Because it's important to take into consideration all the feedstocks that we need to grow a plant. And cactus needs zero. No water, no chemicals, no herbicides, no pesticides, no agrochemicals at all, no care. It grows alone, it's right by the sun. So we say, okay, this is the solution. So now how do we transform into the material? So that's why, so that's what the hard part, how we transform the cactus into the material. And we spent 3 years together inside of the laboratory with engineers, agrochemicals, agricultural team, nanotechnology team, Adrian, me, 3 years inside until we achieved the first version of Desserto in 2019, which was made for doing bags and accessories and all these things in the fashion industry.
Wow,
I went too much, but yeah, like this.
4 years. Marte, Desserto. How did you come up with the name? It's incredible. The desert, we know it's really with cactus, maybe having a cactus name, but how come Desserto? I love the name. What was the inspiration?
Well, the inspiration of Desserto, I mean, of course, was because a cactus, or I mean, or nopal is a desertic plant, and in Spanish we call it desierto. In English we call it desert, and in Italian we call it deserto, but with one S. So we're thinking we want to make something like very aesthetic for the European market and American market. So we need to create a fusion between words, something from the desert, which is not desert like it is, because we cannot name it desert or desierto because we cannot. So we start thinking in different like combinations, and we end with deserto with double S, like Italian and American language together. And yeah, I think it's a great name.
It's great. In fact, somebody said it sounds like the dessert of the desert. You can
Yeah.
you can start with it. You can have your main course and your dessert. It's so incredible what you're doing. So, Marte, could you give us a day in the life of Desserto and that beautiful cactus plant? It takes no water. I mean, people can survive in the desert and finding desert and taking a little bit of that water and surviving for a good period of time.
It is important to start with the cultivations, because we need to choose a specific region in Mexico to select, I mean, the land where we're going to make the cultivation of the cactus. Because if we choose a right plant, then it's going to grow by nature, 100% organic. So all the cultivations that we use in Zacatecas, Mexico are 100% organic, USDA. It's grown by nature. We don't use any water, and it takes only 8 months to 10 months for growing. So each 8 months, we do a harvest of all the acres of the cactus plant. We cut only the mature leaves of the plant, so the plant keeps growing. So we never kill like the root of the plant. It lives for more than 10 years. And we say that we only make like a haircut of the plant and it will grow again in 8 months. And once we do the harvesting of the cactus, then we grind them, so we clean them, and then we grind them, and we put them in the sun for 5 days. Why in the sun? Because we don't want to use energy for the drying process. In Mexico, we have more sun than enough, so we can dry everything in the sun. So we spend 5 days and until we achieve the humidity levels that we need for our process. Once we have this fiber dry in the sun, we start the meshing process and the pulverization process to obtain the proteins. We have a five-step meshing and pulverization process until we achieve this protein that is present only in 1 or 2% of the plant. And this protein is the one that we patented, that we can convert into a biopolymer. And this biopolymer, it can be used as a synthetic or as a leather because it has the same feeling. But the difference of Desserto is that the source is a plant, which is cactus, and not the petroleum, which is like the plastic. And then we put a fabric in the back part of the material until we achieve like a complete strong material completed. And then we can use it in different applications, such as bags, belts, shoes, automotive, furniture, different application, because we can customize everything, since the thickness, since the performance, the color, the texture, everything, because we want to be a real alternative to leather and synthetics.
You have collaborations with Mercedes-Benz, with Hublot watches, with Boatman Shoes, and so many other companies. Could you tell us some of the companies that you're working with in creating some of these different products so we can show our viewers? I think one of the two that I think are so incredible, Mercedes-Benz, that you are doing the interiors of some of the Mercedes cars and SUVs with this beautiful cactus, vegan imitation leather. It's not going to destroy the environment. It says smooth and comfortable, maybe more comfortable than leather. It's not going to fade with the sun. It's going to be, you can clean it. It comes in so many colors. That's really incredible. And Hublot watches, who knew that you have beautiful watch bands in green and other colors to represent nature, and Boatman shoes that are very big for the yacht industry that everybody likes to wear. So could you just tell us a few more? I know I've forgotten a few of some of the companies you're working with in collaborations in fashion, textiles, and retail.
Yeah, sure. Well, since the beginning, we were very happy working with the smaller brands and medium brands because we like every kind of brand inside of the fashion industry. And actually, the first brand that we worked with was Fossil, with the with the watch straps, with the bag, with the tote bags, with wallets, and with the crossbodies. Then we were working with Adidas for the boxing gloves, and right now Adidas boxing is all in all the world. We did also collaboration with Givenchy in the cosmetics industry. We're doing all the lipsticks of the Givenchy brand. All the cups of Givenchy are done with Desserto. Also, we did some collaboration with H&M in footwear, with Onitsuka Tiger in footwear, and as you mentioned, we did also his concept car with Mercedes-Benz, which was very challenging because because as you can imagine, Mercedes asked for a very, very high standard in quality terms levels. So we spent more than 1.5 years just to achieve these quality levels that Mercedes wants for doing the car seats. So we've been working with a lot of brands, and we're very happy that all the industry, the fashion industry, has been very active and interested in using Desserto in the collaborations. Also, a very important brand that we did collection what with Karl Lagerfeld in bags and wallets and jackets. We were very happy and proud
Incredible.
that we can put like cactus everywhere in all the world.
I think it'll be great. And you know, in talking to you earlier, I was asking you, has there been any complications? The fact that Desserto is a Mexican company, I mean, you are well known around the world, but does that create any limitations for what you can do getting into any of the markets? Because again, you're an international company, but maybe not being a company from the EU or from North America. Is that have any complications at all in getting to other places? Or any challenges with that?
Well, we were working with the Mexican company since the beginning until last year, and was not something challenge. Well, it was challenging because we had a lot of limitations with countries and with clients because we were doing exportation in more than 90 countries from Mexico. It was a lot, and the value chain is important to take into consideration. So the footprint of the logistics of doing the exportation from Mexico to India or China or Cambodia or USA, Europe was too high. So all the reduction of the CO2 that we were doing in the process, it was doing a lot more in the shipping. So it was no sense doing a reduction if we are doing a lot of accumulation of CO2 in the shipping process. So last year, we opened a new facility in Italy and also a production facility. So right now we have the opportunity of doing the production in Mexico or in Italy. It depends where the client needs the material. So this is good for us because we can reduce a lot the contamination in the logistics in air and sea, and we can put the material closer to their factories. And our next goal is to open a new facility in Asia, which is planned for the next year, because our principal market right now is Asia. So it's maybe China. And if we put something closer to China, so the clients will be much more happy because they can buy it with less time and of course cheaper, and we are not going to make a lot of contamination in the process, and the timings for sure it's much more less. So this is how we are doing our expansion to reduce the timings and make it easier for everybody.
And how important is it? I know so many companies, universities, organizations are now looking so much into sustainability. And the UN has its 17 sustainability development goals that so many companies are working to achieve. Everything from labor to what's happening above the sea, below the sea, poverty, and so many others. I know this certainly has been big with you, along with global warming and the recent talks that we've had around the world with the COP28 convention and so forth. How big is this with Desserto?
Very polemic topic because right now is everybody's talking about sustainability, and it's good because we have, right now the industry has a lot of problems, not just the fashion. All the industries has problems in sustainability aspects, but as we're talking in fashion is responsible of a lot of things: waste accumulation, water use, chemical use, land use change. A lot of bad things are made because the fashion industry, and it's all because the materials that the industry use, which is leather and synthetics. And sustainability is not just how much bio-based content is your material, of course not. It takes into consideration the complete value chain, the agricultural field, how much you pay, how care you take into your team, all the water that you use, all the recyclability, biodegradability, all aspects, which are more than 15 aspects, are involved in each company and in each area. And what we do in Desserto is that we want to give you, brand or client, we want to give you a complete solution in terms of your interest of sustainability, because each brand, each company has its own sustainability levels, preferences. One of them are interested in recyclability. So one another is interested in sustainability, if it is if it's recycled or not, it is biodegradable or not. So we make a solution taking into consideration the sustainability interest of each brand. Because maybe one brand says, I don't care if your product is 100% bio-based or 20% bio-based. I care that all the products and all the feedstocks needs to be recycled. Okay, so we can make that our recycled version for this client. And another one says, I don't care if it's recycled or not. I want something which is 90% bio-based because it's going to be biodegradable faster. Okay, so we give you this solution to you. So this is how we can work like with the balance, because balance is also a part of sustainability. We have to make a balance between sustainability and performance, because if we make like a good match with that, we will give you a good solution to the industry.
What's on the horizon for those beautiful cactus in the deserts in Mexico and around the world? What can we look to see from the world of Desserto?
Well, in my personal opinion, I would like to see Desserto everywhere. In all the brands, being the best solution in the market for forever. And of course, always improve the materials to a higher sustainability level. But the movie will be nice. No, but I would like to be like not an inspiration, but an example of how things can be done. Because Adrian and I, we were working with an idea which was just to improve the industry. And right now, we think that we are only the key, but somebody needs to take the key and use it to open the door. So we're just one part of the chain, which is a material. But if the industry or the brands or students or everybody has not the interest of changing, then we are not going to be something, or so we're nothing. We need to change like the mindset of everybody of doing something better or working with sustainable material, so we can be a good part for the world. So we are part of something, and that's why we want to be an example that things can be done. And if you want to change the world, we want to change it too. So let's work together and make it possible.
And that's what we're going to do. And I'm just getting off the phone with Hollywood, and they said that a young Andy Garcia wants to play you in the future Desserto movie. So who knows? I think that would be good. Remember, I said young Andy Garcia
Okay,
playing Marte, which would be incredible. I want to thank you, Marte, for an incredible journey through the life and future of Desserto. I think what you're doing for sustainability is incredible. And we also want to thank those wonderful cactus or cacti for the work they do. And I think it's also wonderful, like sheep and alpaca, that you are not killing animals or plants, that you are just giving them a great haircut, that they can go on to live for 10 years or more, and they can be recultivated and reproducing that wonderful vegan imitation leather for so many other things as well. So on behalf of The Look, we want to thank you and Desserto for coming into our homes today on The Look TV and sharing the incredible sustainability story that the world needs to hear in fashion, beauty, retail. It's an important story, and you've heard it here on The Look TV first. Thank you, Marte. Thank you, Desserto, for spending some time with us today on The Look, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back to The Look, everybody. That was such a great interview, Dr. Fashion. I learned so much, and I am so ready to have my next sweatshirt made out of cacti. So I'm counting on you to get it for me. Everybody, thank you so much for watching today's episode. Please, please, please head to our social media channels. We have TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Go follow us for all the updates on what's happening with The Look TV. If you missed anything today, we always post them back on our social platforms. And if you missed one of the previous episodes in 2023, go ahead and follow us and find one of those episodes. Sure to be a great time. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on next week's show of The Look.